Hey, hi, and howdy, sweet friends. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. My name is Courtney, and I do food and kinship content here on YouTube. Weekly grocery hauls, what's for dinner style videos, that sort of thing. If you like that, I hope you will hit the subscribe button and stick around. All right, it is time for my weekly meal prep. Meal prepping is a game changer for me. I am so happy that I tried it because it has made my weeks go so much better. We homeschool, we're involved in co-op and extracurricular activities, and my husband works, my oldest goes to college and works, so I feel like we're always going different directions at different times. Meal prepping allows me to have meals for the whole week ready in my fridge so everyone can grab and go as they need. It really just has made weeknights so easy for me. I don't have to worry about rushing home and making sure dinner's ready for everyone. It's already done. So this week I am bringing you on this journey, and I am just taking you along step by step. We're going to start off by making some Mongolian chicken. I will link all of the recipes down below. A lot of times I follow them loosely, depending on what ingredients I have or don't have, or what my family likes or doesn't like. But those recipes are my inspiration, and they are the base for everything. And I always advise everyone to use what you have and use what you like. So make some changes if you need to. No big deal. We are making this sauce for our chicken. I've got it called for hoisin, but I had some oyster sauce I need to use up. So I did oyster sauce, soy sauce, garlic, ginger, and some brown sugar, and a little bit of chili garlic crunch, or you could use sriracha or red pepper flakes for heat, whatever you like. And I mixed it all together, and I'm just going to throw my chicken in there. Now, the recipe calls for chicken thighs, but I had these chicken breasts, and that's what I was using because that's what I had. So I just tossed them in my slow cooker, and I stirred everybody around to make sure they're coated in the sauce. And I just let this cook until the chicken was done. Now, I will say, I don't show this, but in the background, I do have rice going in my rice cooker. I do that pretty much every week. I tossed in about 3 cups of uncooked rice and about 3.5 cups of water in my rice cooker and let it go so it's cooking while I'm doing everything else. I like to multitask. That makes this process go very, very quickly. All right, on to our next meal. We've got some more chicken. These are, again, chicken breasts, and they're just like thinly cut chicken breasts. I season them with salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and then I am just sauteing them in a skillet to get them cooked. You can see I got some color on there. There's a recipe that I'm linking below, and it's for French chicken. Sounded really good, and that's what we're making. I am making a few changes, though. So they cook all of it together in the oven, and I'm doing things a little bit differently. So once I cooked the chicken, I set it off to the side. In that same skillet, I added a little bit more olive oil to it. Then I tossed in some diced onion and diced celery, and we're just going to cook this and kind of use this to scrape up all that goodness off the bottom of the pan from cooking the chicken. That is all flavor, and it is free flavor that we worked hard to develop on that chicken, so we're not going to waste it. We're going to incorporate it into everything. As you can see, I let those cook for about 3 or 4 minutes. They started to soften and things. So to that, I'm going to add in a little bit of flour and saute that for a couple of minutes just to cook out that floury taste. So that this doesn't taste like glue. Same deal when you're making gravy. You just want to cook that flour for a couple of minutes so it doesn't taste like flour. We're going to be adding some broth to this, but in my case, of course, I always just add bouillon and water. The recipe calls for chicken, but I just really think the flavor of beef bouillon is far superior. So I'm actually adding beef bouillon powder to this right now, and then we're going to add in our dried herbs, which are rosemary and thyme. Give that a nice little stir. I like to let my dried spices toast for a couple of minutes because it brings them back to life. It rejuvenates them, brings the flavor back to them. It's really, really good. Next, we're going to add in some water and just give this a really good stir. We want to make sure there's no clumps of flour in there. And then we're going to let this simmer for a little while to thicken up. One thing I did forget to mention was I also threw in a little bit of garlic. And I'm going to throw in a bay leaf in a minute. Now, the recipe called for also some white wine, which I didn't have. So I threw in a little bit of lemon juice just to bring that brightness and acidity that we would have gotten from the white wine if I had used it. And again, we just let this simmer to thicken. Now, it's not going to get super thick, and that's fine. It's going to be the sauce that we use to cook the chicken and some potatoes in here in a minute. But as you can see, it's just going to simmer away. It smells fantastic, and this recipe really just gave off so many fall vibes to me. So in our casserole dish, I've got the chicken. I just diced it up, and I've got a bunch of baby potatoes that I cut in half, and I'm just trying to put them like cut side down. You can use any kind of potatoes you want, or maybe you want to use a different vegetable. I don't know. I was kind of loosely following the recipe and kind of going off in my own direction at the same time. I had a bunch of baby potatoes though, and that's what I chose to use here. And I'm just doing them cut side down so they absorb all that liquid and cook through a lot better. We're just going to pour that gravy, which you can see is not super thick, but it has thickened up. We're going to pour that in there. And of course, as this cooks, the potatoes release a lot of starch, and that also thickens that sauce up a little bit more. Just kind of making sure everybody's nestled down in there nicely and moving some of the onions and celery around to kind of mix them in. And this goes in the oven to bake for about 40 minutes. And oh, it was so good. It really, really was. All right, we're going to make this enchilada casserole. Now it calls for a ground beef, but I'm using ground turkey. I actually found this. It is taco seasoned ground turkey. It was like $1.73 a roll at Walmart. So I thought this would be amazing for something. Now I don't like taco seasoned things, but the rest of my family does. I'm not eating this dish, so it's totally cool. They can have it. They like it. I just threw the turkey in there and I cooked it till it was mostly done. And then I'm going to throw in some diced up onion. Now, if you don't have pre-seasoned turkey or ground beef, feel free to season it with taco seasoning or your own blend of taco style seasoning. That's more of what I would do. Either way is fine. I do like to try to incorporate vegetables into every recipe I cook. And this one I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I've seen a lot of people make Mexican rice with these frozen mixed vegetables, and I thought, okay, that's what we'll try. So I threw in a bag of those. It's got corn and carrots and green beans and peas. I guess it sounds a little odd, but I'm still getting some veggies in there, and I felt good about it, and my family liked it. So I think it was probably a pretty good call. But if you don't want to do that, I really think zucchini would have been a great alternative in there as well. I did throw in a can of diced tomatoes. They're just plain ones, but you could do fire roasted or chili flavored, whatever you want to do. I'm also throwing in some garlic. Now, I use confit garlic, and that is always linked in the description box if you're interested in making that for yourself. It is my favorite. I love the flavor of it. It's a little sweeter. It's a little more mild. It just has a beautiful, beautiful taste to it. But fresh garlic or garlic powder would also be a great substitution. I'm also pouring in a little bit of enchilada sauce, and I let this simmer for just a minute. And then we're going to add in some rice. Now, like I said, I had rice cooking in my rice cooker. This is cooked rice. The recipe called for cooked rice. If you wanted to just throw in some uncooked rice right now, that would be fine. Just remember to bulk it up with a bit of extra liquid so that the rice is able to cook and get soft. In fact, I think that might actually be a better alternative, but I was kind of just following along with the recipe, so I did it this way. And it only called for a cup of cooked rice, which I thought was odd because for sure I'm going to need more than that for the amount of food that we have in there. Even without the frozen veggies, that's a lot of liquid. So I definitely upped my rice portion to probably about 2 to 2.5 cups, maybe even pushing 3 cups of rice. And it was perfect. It absorbed the liquid that was in there from the enchilada sauce and the diced tomatoes, and it didn't get soggy or anything. So it was just right. Now, in my household, a lot of people are not eating dairy or don't like cheese or whatever. So I'm going to dish this up in little dishes without anything on it. However, if you like cheese, I think that it would be the perfect topping for each one of these. I would just sprinkle either like some cheddar or some Colby Jack or just some pepper jack on top. And that way, whenever you reheat these in the microwave, the cheese will melt on top and it would be delicious. You don't have to, but I just really think that would be a really perfect addition to this. Just something to keep in mind. But that was so simple. I just put it in bowls and it was good to go. Now, back to our Mongolian chicken. It cooked and I shredded it. This is what it looks like. It was really easy to shred. It's absorbed most of the liquid. So I'm just going to add in a bag of frozen broccoli. You can add in whatever veggies you want, but for me, broccoli just sounded perfect. I've got the 16-ounce bags from Sam's Club, and I actually did about a bag and a half because I wanted to really bulk it up with broccoli. We like broccoli a lot, and this is a great way to get those veggies in. As you can see, it has really absorbed most of the liquid, though, and I run into that problem a lot with Asian-inspired meals. So I did make an extra batch of that sauce that I showed you in the beginning to pour over the top of each bowl, and then promptly forgot to film what those bowls look like, but I just served it over rice. Here are the finished meals. That is the enchilada casserole, which was very flavorful and delicious. I served the French chicken over egg noodles because I had some and I needed to use them, but really you could have done it a myriad of different ways with some veggies on the side, however you wanted it. But this was really good, and I got to say, I tasted the potatoes, and wow, they came out so delicious cooked in that sauce. That's going to do it for this week's meals. Everything is linked below so you can make it for your family. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was budget friendly, quick, easy, and most importantly, very, very delicious. So y'all let me know what you thought of these recipes, and y'all have an amazing weekend. I will see you guys back here on Tuesday with another grocery haul.